Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone from the Leadership 2200 class. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jason Hill. I am a junior here at Troy University. I'm majoring in computer science and minoring in leadership development. The reason I wanted to talk to you tonight is about the importance of team and team building. There's three main points I wanted to go over. The first point being the importance of team. The second point being challenging and motivating your team. And the third point is progressing through the stages of team building process. And so to start off with, I'd like to define team building. Team building is a process of improving the effectiveness of the group of individuals working together for a common goal. The reason this is important is because you want to establish your team and you want to understand the difference of what a team is and what a group is within an organization. And a group is nothing more than individuals performing tasks, where a team is put together to perform and accomplish goals set out by that organization. Teams are far more effective than groups ever will be. Respect for peers was the number one reason that team members performed above and beyond what they normally would do. They felt a cohesiveness and a community within their team so that they performed better. They worked harder. So you can kind of look at it, a team is your family at work. And so with that knowledge, that's important to understand the dynamics of what a team is. And so the second point I'd like to make is motivating and challenging your team. The reason that's important is ultimately you want your team to self-govern itself. So as a leader, you want to steer the ship in the right direction, but you also want to see with you've delegated out to your team, you want to see how it works on its own, because this can define how good a team can be based upon their roles that they know within the team. And so again, there can be some discomfort with this. This is getting outside of the comfort zone for a lot of individuals. But again, that's how you challenge your team. So you may want to put some individuals together that you normally wouldn't put together, because you want. Oh, I'm sorry. So you would like for them to challenge each other. You want competition within your team. Competition is healthy. That's how you go beyond what you normally would expect. So then the third thing I'd like to go over is the effectiveness or effectively progressing through the stages of team building. And so in the 1960s, a gentleman named Bruce Tuckman established the forming, norming, storming, and performing stages. And the reason that this is important is it recognized the direction in which the team needed to go. It also helped understand why the team was moving in that direction, be it good or bad. So with these stages, you could understand the dynamics that the team, the reason it was either going forward or backwards, helped establish that more. So in the forming stage, you're going to get together individuals, you're going to discuss the reason your team is put together and which direction you need to go. You're going to, excuse me one second. So this is, again, this is roles established, and this is where the team members bond. This is where, again, your foundation is built. This is where why the team's put together. a very important part of the stage so that it's clearly defined. And then you move on to the second stage, which is norming. The norming part of the stage is where the team really comes together. This is where they're really forming bonds to the point that they're kind of scared to make uncomfortable the situation with the team. They want to do their duty. They want to make sure that they're doing their part and they're not harming the team dynamics. This is where strong team efforts are put together. So it's a very important stage. The transition from the norming stage to the storming stage is probably the most important for a leader. And the storming stage is the next stage, the third stage. And this is, again, where we talked about my second point of challenge your team. This is where, again, you're challenging your team. You're putting things out there so that there may be some heartaches in the team. There may be some infighting. And actually, that's not a bad thing. Infighting, again, competition is good and healthy. You want that. The important part for a leader is to recognize what is healthy and what needs to be corrected. And this is probably where leaders are really made or broken. This is where it's important to understand this part of the stage, and it's important for a leader to understand that you need to be in this stage in the team building process, because this is where, coming out of this stage, moving into the last stage of performing, this is where your goals are met. This is where the potential of the team is actually realized. This is where all the hard work and things that you've gone through to put together, it's where it's realized. Goals are accomplished. And this is where the conflict is resolved within the group. This is where, and the group understands they've come through this. They went from when they started in the first stage of forming until the last stage of performing. They have improved, they've grown, and maybe their roles can move on to a leadership position of their own because they have gone through this stage and learned how to be led and how to be a team member. And so therefore, leaders are actually not only leaders, but they are team members as well. So they have to do their part. And so with the last stage, it's a roadmap to identify and to progress through the stages to get a good team effort. And so anyway, that was the progression through the stages. And so we went over the importance of teams and team building. We went over motivating and challenging your team. And then we went through the stages of team building. And all of this is, the reason all these are important is so that you can have a good cohesive team and that you can accomplish your goals. Thank you for listening to me, and have a good night.